Hello. I can't do it seriously. Hello and welcome to SunStock Music. I'm going to be talking about ambient music today because ambient music is good. Yay! Ambient music very often features drones, things with really sort of long attack times and evolving synths and pads and textures, generally intended to be pretty, and to sort of sit nicely in the background if you want it to, but also be something that you can really sort of sit and listen to as well. It very infrequently features drumming, and if there is drumming in it, it's very often sort of turned down, maybe sort of low in the mix, or generally sort of experimental in nature. Like Aphex Twin's Xtol, which has there's drumming in it, but it's not punchy. There's no sort of transients in it. It's all reverby and dynamic. There's not a great deal of movement in it. There's no sort of giant build-ups or sort of peaks. There is a lot of movement in ambient music, but it's mainly just where it sort of all oscillates around itself. There's no sort of kind of progression to it. It just sort of exists for a bit and then it just stops and it's nice. Eric, we'll just have to Eric, this guy. Our mate Eric, he first was experimenting with ambient-ish music as far back as the 19th century with piano pieces like also on my forehead, please. And it's not ambient music, it's a piano piece, but it's sort of tempoless and really sort of drony and floaty, and it's probably the furthest reach back into ambient music that I can really find. Okay, ambient music first really sort of developed and took its own sort of form in the 70s after the invention of the synthesizer, which allowed people to create a lot more sort of vivid soundscapes and really sort of get textural with sound. And modular synthesizers really changed the way we could manipulate music and sound. Pink Floyd, while not strictly an ambient band, used a lot of sort of ambient soundscapes and stuff in their work, and I know that there was a big influence on people like Brian Eno from Roxy Music, which is hilarious because Roxy Music isn't very ambient or deep at all. But Brian Eno he left and he did his own thing. He wrote an album called Music for Airports. He's often merited with coming up with ambient as a genre, but he didn't. He just popularised it, and he's been a really big sort of a pioneer. I mean, as far back as the 70s, making it really sort of evolved, and then in the 90s it was used after rave music. At the end of a rave, they'd have like a chill out session, and they'd play loads of down tempo and ambient music to ease people off the copious amount of drugs, and that's why you get things like ambient house and ambient trance and ambient everything. Notable artists, you've got Biosphere. He did Shenzhou. It's remixes of classical songs, and he's spliced them up and sort of time stretched it, and he's created this really nice kind of ambient thing, and it's got like a really sort of strong theme to it. It makes a lot of sense as an album. Aphex Twin, who's released 2 purely ambient albums, both called Selected Ambient Works 1 and 2. Brian Eno. Robert Fripp from King Crimson invented something called Frippatronics, and he sort of used really long delay times to sort of create drones and atmospheric soundscapes and that kind of thing, and he really sort of contributed a lot to the idea of what ambient music is. I've probably missed many, so that's open to comments by you guys. Ambient music is often featured in tracks and albums without them really being ambient pieces. Like ambient music features a lot in works of sort of IDM music, glitch music. You've got sort of BT. Ahmet Sob, there's loads more. There's so many more. A lot of prog rock uses ambient elements and ambient sections of the songs. Like I said, Pink Floyd and King Crimson. Aphex Twin's Rhubarb. Hauntingly sad, but really beautiful and mellow. It's the sort of music that you want to sort of die to. In a nice way. Like if he was gonna die, he'd be like, quick, stick that track on, because that's what I want to listen to when I die. That's a bit tough, because that's how I feel. Lichen. Which is a lot more sort of melodic in nature. There's sort of loads of things going on. It does move quite a lot. It's almost sort of not ambient in that sense. It's very sort of melody driven, but it is just sort of synths and pads, and it's just really sort of ethereal and floaty and pretty. And then my final Aphex Twin track that I'm going to mention is Stone in Focus. It's either 8 minutes or 10 minutes long, and it's just 3 chords the whole time, and it's just the sort of the makeup of the chords is just, it's strange. There's something really sort of otherworldly about it. Like, it just feels like no human could have made it. We've got Shenzhou, which I've already mentioned, and it's the classical sort of, he sort of glitched it out, made it really sort of pretty, and you can sort of hear all the sort of violins and the flutes that have been sort of all warped and looped at weird points, and that just makes it sound glitchy. It's like a glitchy ambient album. And then we've got Brian Eno. An ending which has probably been used on more charity adverts than any other song ever, and that's because it is really, really, really sad. See me some other time where I will be talking about some other thing. I'm gonna try and cover every genre that exists, so I might sort of die in the process, given that there's like 500,000 and I'm not gonna live that long, but I'm gonna try and cover all the best ones. Cool.
I could do that thing that they do, where they pretend to be unaware and they go, "Oh, hi there. I'm here to talk about ambient music. Can you spell ambient music?"